So in Revelation chapter 13, I mentioned to you before that the false prophet that the Bible talks about that he's going to animate the image of the beast. Now, isn't it interesting when you look at animated image, it kind of goes with AI, so to speak, the abbreviation. And we all know about artificial intelligence. So it is very possible, I mentioned before, that it could be an idol, literally an animated image. The literal sense can go in a different way too, technological wise as well. So it can be virtual and not just a stone image. So again, it can be a stone image and it can be a virtual image. I believe that it can be both. So with this virtual reality, we can see that we're heading there more and more and more. And then one of the main people that you will think about, who is practically one of the richest people in the world, who is pushing this really hard, and not only that, big techs around Silicon Valley are doing it too. So the two people that you want to look out for concerning technological wise, and as usual, this purple pen doesn't work. Someone else can get me a different purple pen. We see one here is obviously through Microsoft, Bill Gates. And then a second one, I'll just mention the other tech guys as Silicon Valley. So, it is very interesting, especially during this coronavirus situation, how very, very fast Scripture is being fulfilled. Yeah. We've seen so much of a fast pace already the previous years, but during this short timeline, within a couple of weeks to a couple of months span, we already seen boom, 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 too many things. So the first one over here, here's the title of an article by Carl Caminetti, April 16th, 2020. And the title of the article is Microsoft Pulled an Ad After Conspiracy Theorists Accused Star Marina Abramovic of Satanism. Now, in this, I'm quoting you an article that actually disagrees with conspiracy theorists. So this article that I'm reading to you is something that's widespread online. You can just simply Google search it, and you can see that even the naysayers will agree that this event happened. Okay? So this is what they mentioned over here, is that Microsoft has removed a new ad. Why did they remove it? Featuring artist Marina Abramovic after right-wing conspiracy theorists accused her of Satanism, ArtNet News reported. That sentence may read like a Mad Lib, but unfortunately it describes an actual thing that happened in real life because the world is currently hell-bent on proving itself a far stranger place than any of us imagined possible. Microsoft released the ad for, this is the name of the thing that they were promoting in their ad, and that's HoloLens 2. This is where Marina Abramovic, she spent a lot of effort, and if you read about her efforts, how much she pulled through for this advertisement, it looks almost demonic, actually. But if you actually look at the advertisement, there's a lot of strange, esoteric, occultic symbolism over there. And because of that, there were so many people, I mean, even common sense people can see, hey, this is something occultic and weird. So because even so many people were commenting that on their comment section, they received so much pressure that they had to take down the ad. That's what actually happened. And what's very interesting is that this ad was published close to a timeline of where everybody is commemorating and thinking about the resurrection of Jesus Christ that April Sunday. And in this HoloLens ad, it was basically trying to mix up symbolisms of resurrection mingled with esoteric occultic pictures. And the point is where mixed reality combines with the virtual world. So what we see over here is what Satan always wanted to accomplish for centuries, and this has been warned by Bible believers and even any type of Christian out there, where the virtual reality is mingling up with actual world reality. You can see that more and more. That's a no-brainer over there, where they're trying to put these kind of goggles and lenses on people where they can experience the virtual world with real life world. Now think about it, where if this is possible, and a lot of scientists have talked about where there are certain dimensions or there are certain things in our universe that is outside our Earth. And those are the tactics that I notice atheists or agnostic scientists will use to try to debunk when we use real life logic to prove the existence of God. And the way that they'll go around it is, well, that real life logic to prove the existence of God, you're thinking about it in an earthly plane. But outside the workings of the universe, it's like totally different. The dimension, the space, and that area that you're in. The laws are very different from the universe compared to the earth. That's what scientists are trying to say. Well, scientists, what they want to do is study that other part of the world, so to speak, in the universe, in their real life world. If you have the Antichrist accomplishing that with that other world, with the real life world, that's where it gets weird. And especially when you start to study more about these tech giants who study more of this virtual reality, they see something that's an outside plane of the universe or esoteric as well. They combine a different dimension, different world scientifically, and they mingle that with the virtual tech world. So this is what I think, and your pastor mentioned this several times. What's bridging that other world, and what I believe that other world is that's where the demons are at. I believe that's a spiritual plane. What's going to get people to the real world, to the other world, is what? The virtual. The virtual science is what's going to bridge that gap together. So here's the article that I mentioned to you by Carl Caminetti, and then let me read a different one over here. This one is even on Mac Rumors, actually. So where everyone's keeping tabs on Apple. So the other tech giants are getting involved as well. And look what they say. So Apple, which is no surprise, we already know that Google was putting on this Google goggle, so to speak. And they mentioned over here, the title of this article in macrumors.com is Apple's Secret Augmented and Virtual Reality Project. Apple has been exploring virtual reality and augmented reality technologies for more than 10 years based on patent filings. Now, that's what a lot of conspiracy theorists are going. They're going all these patent filings. And trust me, if you start studying the patent filings, and that's very easy on Google. Yeah. Google officially posts the patent and give you every description. So you can go on there right now and do the research. So because Google does a plain sight for the public, all you have to do is look at it. And when you study patents, trust me, I think you're going to believe in biblical prophecy after that. Yeah. I think you'll become a Bible-believing Christian. I think you're going to say, I think this New World Order thing with the Antichrist is very, very likely. But aside from that, it says, but with virtual and augmented reality exploding in popularity with the launch of ARKit, Apple's dabbling is growing more serious and could lead to an actual dedicated AR-VR product in the not-too-distant future. Now, isn't it interesting? They said it's exploding in popularity with the ARKit. So, literally, they capitalized A-R-K. Wow. And then they literally lowercase this. Now, what do you think the Antichrist is going to do? Well, I'll tell you what God's going to do. If you look at the book of Revelation, chapter 11, God, he shows his real ark up in heaven to the world. Wow. Why would he do that? Maybe the Antichrist has his own ark going on. That's something to think about. Now, I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying that that's something to think about over here. But let's keep reading. Apple has been rumored to be working on multiple virtual and augmented reality headset prototypes as engineers search for the most compelling application for such a device. Apple in July 2019 moved Kim Vorath, one of its software executives, over to the augmented reality headset division to bring some order to the team. Vorath has overseen program management on the software development team for 15 years and has been described as a powerful force, making sure employees meet deadlines while also sussing out bugs. Now, the thing is that if you look at these goggles that they're making to meet up virtual reality, it covers what? Your eyes and your forehead. Now, what did your pastor warn you about? Go to the book of Matthew 5. Matthew 5. So Gene Kim is a heretic, and he's crazy, and he's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. In Matthew chapter 5, if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, where it's referring to the mark of the beast. Well, hey, one, scripturally speaking, Matthew chapter 5, that does not apply to the Christian time period. That's the gospel of the kingdom. All you have to do is look at Matthew chapter 4. Jesus is preaching the gospel of the kingdom. Matthew chapter 5, it mentions kingdom of heaven, kingdom of heaven. That's undoubtedly the gospel Jesus preached. If you look at Matthew chapter 24, Jesus says this gospel of the kingdom will be preached during the end times, the tribulation. Okay, so then Matthew 5, in this gospel of the kingdom, why would it talk about that during the timeline of the tribulation? If you sin with your eyes, that you should pluck it off. How are you going to sin with your eyes at the tribulation? Sure, you can include all kinds of general sins. And yeah, you can include sexual sins, which some people try to get me on. You can't just restrict it to just sexual sins. Jesus plainly said, Matthew 5, it's referring to sin in general. So, if this mark of the beast could entail where you get these goggles on and then get that 666, wouldn't that be logical to include that as part of the sins with your eyes that you shouldn't be committing? Look at Matthew chapter 5, verse 29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. For it is probable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy... Why should you get rid of your right eye? Because not that thy whole body should be cast into hell, so that your whole body doesn't go to damnation. Why? Because there's something you do with your eyes that gets you damned. Revelation 14 says if you get the mark of the beast in your forehead, you are damned. So how about that? Imagine people getting that mark of the beast. So God is pointing out right over here, it's better that you take out, what, that right eye where you're sinning, because if that virtual reality is 666, where it covers your forehead and your eyes, it does something, and your eyes, all of its functions connects with your brain. See that? But look what's interesting. If verse 29, we can apply that to the mark of the beast in the forehead, we also know the mark of the beast is going to go literally which hand? Right hand, right? Why would the next verse say at verse 30, and if thy what? Right hand offend thee, cut it off. Look at that. That book, man, is way ahead of you. Way ahead of you. All right. Let's look at Revelation 13. This animated image, right? This animated image. We're going to look at verse 15. We're going to look at verse 15 here. Notice it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. How about that? This image has life. Today, we get so many images that have life, and this is what these tech companies with their products are doing. That the image of the beast should both speak, that's right, you get this virtual image speaking to you, and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's connected with what? At verse 16, the mark. The image is connected with the mark. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Boom, boom, and boom. And if you don't believe me, you'll also notice that Revelation chapter 14, verse 11, the mark is connected to the image. Wow. So then if these products are the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, that fits in beautifully. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Now, I am not saying that these products are the mark of the beast and it is 666. I don't want a misunderstanding of that. But what I am trying to point out is this, is that these products are precursors. That's definitely showing the world that if we can make this possible, where real world meets up with the virtual world, and we're trying to assimilate one together, which is what a demon-possessed music artist was trying to promote, that I read earlier at the first article. If that's the case, that we already see all these open doors, the floodgates opening up, we're not too far away from the actual mark of the beast. If the mark of the beast takes these products as examples, hey, this is not a new thing. We've done this before, especially after the year 2020. So all you people, you can be conditioned and you feel comfortable now to take this mark. But if the Antichrist just did it just like that, people would feel uncomfortable unless you condition the people to begin with. Not only that, Bible-believing Christians, what you got to understand is that we will not be in the tribulation. We will be raptured before the tribulation, before the Antichrist sets up the mark of the beast. So don't worry about if Bill Gates makes this vaccine mandated. And I know that they're scanning beforehand before you enter the markets. And I know they're pushing up these products where it keeps track of you. But don't worry about that, because that is not the actual mark of the beast. It's leading up to the mark of the beast. It's leading up to the mark of the beast. If you're a dispensationalist believing in a pre-tribulation rapture, then you would be at peace about it. Amen. Now, people who would like to say this is the mark of the beast, well, you got to think about this too. We already had stuff before this that people thought was the mark of the beast. The RFID chips, you got the credit card, and all the products that you buy, you got to realize when you look at the barcode at the bottom, if you count the bar lines, you can divide it to 3 sixes already. Not only that, the money that you're holding in your hand, cash, when you sell, already has that satanic symbol at the back. See? So is it that we all have the mark of the beast then and we're all damned already? No. Okay? These are all precursors. You got to understand. Now, if you think that was most disturbing, this is probably the most disturbing. Now, I'm reading again from the critics article. I'm not reading from the conspiracy theorists here, okay? I'm reading from the critics of the conspiracy theorists, this article. They even admit this. This is by Snopes. Snopes obviously has a reputation trying to track down conspiracy theorists and debunk them, right? But even a site like Snopes would acknowledge this. Title of the article by Dan Evan, published April 20th, 2020. And it was updated April 21st. Title of the article, does Microsoft own patent 666 about implanting microchips in people? How about that? Now, let me read you something over here. So, your pastor, as he mentioned so many times, is that when he hears some of these stuff going around online about the conspiracy theorists, is that he can't just believe it easily. He has to acknowledge the critic side. But when I studied the critic side more, it confirms my belief, actually. It also scratches off the crazy stuff that you hear about conspiracies online. So I would highly recommend people to study the critic side. Don't just believe what you hear online. You got to study the critics. You got to study the mainstream news and scholars. Why? To believe what they say? No. So that, one, you can actually confirm your faith. That's one. But then number two, you can also get rid of the false statements and the misstatements. That way you can look credible to people when you show them your belief. And that's what your pastor does with all these articles, with all the conspiracy stuff. Now, the actual number is W02020 So that shows the abbreviation of World Intellectual Property Organization 2020. But after that, it's coincidentally 060606 A1. How about that? So that is very disturbing. That number's really close over there. Because 060606, that's like showing those single digits, so to speak, right? It's giving that kind of impression, that kind of indication. But let's just say that we're probably looking too much into it. Let's just even say that's a coincidence. But they'll say this. Snopes even acknowledged this. To sum up, Microsoft has applied for a patent that deals with the development of a cryptocurrency system based on tracking body activity data. They acknowledge that. However, this patent focuses on wearable technology, such as smartwatch, not implanted microchips. Well, hey, you're getting closer to the right hand. That don't make things better. We even talked about just wearing this on your forehead is making a way for that. So that doesn't ease our conscience, and that doesn't dismiss Revelation 13. It's actually proving more that we're getting there. And it even confirms my point anyway. On what? We're not there yet, the Mark 666. It even confirms that. So this proves pre-tribulation rapture doctrine. So you should be a dispensationalist. I recommend everybody watch the video, please. Amazing Dispensational Truth from Genesis to Revelation. And watch my other video, Chronology of the Apocalypse. If you watch that, it will undoubtedly prove pre-tribulation rapture. Now, let's keep reading here. And while patent number W02020060606A1 contains 3 sixes, you know what they say? Their justification for this? What's the argument? This appears to be little more than a coincidence. That's what they said about when England won against Spain with the battle of with their Spanish Armada and called it a coincidence. But we know that was God. That's what they're saying about this virus when we Christians have been warning about it for many years through Scripture. How about that? How about that? Blindness of people. We're getting there, friend. All right, how are we doing online? Good. Okay, I'm erasing this, and I don't know if we can switch to a new video real quickly. Yeah. Let's see if we can do that while I'm erasing, all right?
Gotcha. Yeah, that was good.
We got a lot more, brethren.
It's also funny how Target